Greetings, YouTube. We're back here again for another nerd report, and we have an update to the video I did a couple of days ago, and I want to go into more speculation. But as it stands right now, the sharks are in the water, and they smell blood. But before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video, and also stay for the story. So, why am I coming back to this previous story I did a couple days ago? Well, more news have come out that T-Mobile and Starlink were also trying to make deals at the same time At&t was making a deal with EchoStar. I'm not going to go into the whole 15 different names that EchoStar has. EchoStar is owner of Dish, which was Dish Mobile, but never really became Dish Mobile, all that stuff. And then it was Boost Mobile. The parent company is EchoStar, and they're the ones that got the spectrum right now. And now they're selling that portion off to At&t. Now, with the news that came out, the $23 billion was a very high bid. It didn't make any sense. And when you go, and I encourage people to do this. So go to spectrumomega.com and take a look at the spectrum that Dish has, and then look at the spectrum that they're acquiring. The spectrum that Dish has is broken all over the nation, and it's not what they call continuous. Okay, so continuous spectrum is worth way more due to the fact that you don't really have to do a lot when you deploy radios. And when you don't have to do a lot to deploy radios, that means ease of use. So if you look at Dish Network was going to be very, very contentious at best. There's 600 megahertz spectrum, which was what they were starting to deploy their network on. At best, there might have been some places along in the United States that they had, 10 by 10, if they were lucky. So part of the problem is when you looked at how much At&t it's going to spend for this, then you start scratching your head. Why would they go after the 600 megahertz spectrum on top of the 3.45 gigahertz spectrum? Unless, and welcome to what I call Speculationville, where the shops have very good coffee. So Speculationville basically is what I saw in Seeking Alpha. Starlink and T-Mobile showed interest in this as everything was going down. So I think that they couldn't get anything to go together. At&T's like, yo, screw it. We'll just go ahead and buy it all the way out, and we'll hash everything out later. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this, due to the fact that it doesn't make any sense that At&T is going to deploy new radios on their network, which is already crowded with low band spectrum as it is, and you're going to add another low band spectrum antenna to your already overcrowded network. It had to be a reason for you to want to purchase this spectrum, and probably even more in this deal. I mean, the deal is only showing two spectrum allocations. It could be the whole portfolio for $23 billion, because the best way I could describe it to you is T-Mobile has for sale right now, I think it's the 800 megahertz spectrum, and Dish EchoStar supposed to have bought that for like $3.5 billion. It's nationwide, but it's not a big chunk. It's like barely 5 by 5. It's like 3.5 by 3.5. So if a 3.5 sliver of spectrum that's actual nationwide can go for like almost $4 billion, what are you going to do with broken spectrum all across the nation? I don't think it's worth $23 billion. So this is where Speculationville comes in at, and you also add the fact that Starlink really wants to get to Dish's 2.1 spectrum also, which is AWS. Now, with all that being said, the news, the reason why you have to piece all this stuff together is because of how much they're reportedly buying this for. And then when you start digging in deeper at this article, and I'll put all the links to the articles that I am showing in the description below. That way you can read it for yourself. Like I said, you could go and take a look at Spectrum Omega and take a look at the spectrums that each carrier is actually using and where. And then that will give you the idea of why would AT&T want such a broken up spectrum unless you're going to use it as a bargaining chip to perhaps start trading for spectrum. T-Mobile has spectrum that AT&T probably would want. Like they underneath the Spectrum Omega chart, T-Mobile has some 3.45 in the nation. It's not a lot, but it's some. They also have the 800 that they need to sell off. They also have some 700 that bumps directly against AT&T's spectrum holdings also. So if AT&T is going to sit on 600, they can spectrum swap and probably get some extra money out of T-Mobile, because T-Mobile's been going like gangbusters. If you look at all the articles that comes out, I would say like Fierce Wireless or Light Reading, you know, those publications tell you how bad T-Mobile's been going at trying to get 600 megahertz spectrum from everybody. If you were using it or thought about using it, T-Mobile was knocking on your door. So this just only makes logical sense to go ahead and just swipe it all up and then sort everything out later. And then that way EchoStar can do its own dealings when it comes to whatever SpaceX wants to do, because SpaceX wants to get into the direct-to-cell game. They're deploying satellites like crazy, and they want to really get into the direct-to-cell game, and they've been eyeing everything that's been coming from EchoStar. So you got all these transactions that's looking like it's getting ready to happen. It started with SpaceX doing an inquiry to get at the FCC involved, and now you're getting all these transactions starting to pop up. So I believe that there's more transactions going to be involved. That's my speculation. So what do you think is about to happen? Do you think that T-Mobile is going to acquire more 600 megahertz spectrum? Do you think that AT&T is going to deploy the 600? I don't think so. That's just my professional opinion. It doesn't make any sense. You already have a lot of low band spectrum as it is. You have no room on your towers. There's no reason for you to even jump into that cellular band if you don't have the hardware and the equipment for it. You might as well go ahead and sell it off to somebody who has it, negotiate some more spectrum that's close to what you already got, and go at it from there. That's my opinion on it. But other professionals have different opinions. I'm curious to hear from you, the viewer. What do you think is about to go down? What do you think these different articles that are being displayed, how do they come together? Because everything doesn't happen in a vacuum. These transactions happen in the background, and when you find out that T-Mobile and Starlink have been trying to get, that spectrum off of EchoStar for a while now, and in negotiations for it, AT&T's big bold mood is just go ahead and grab it all, and then we'll sort it out later. That's the premise that I'm working under right now. But let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe to the video. Let me know. Put your ideas and your speculations on the Speculationville down below, and I'll read it. I'm curious to see what you're thinking. But thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one.